Garzalaza today. Most of you that know him from social media might know him as Roddy. The owner of Roddy AI is the newest venture, right? I know you have a few businesses.
We do, yeah. We have a construction company, the Garcilaso Group, and then we have the Rehab Depot, which is what we're known for, which is the educational aspect of teaching construction to rehabbers, contractors, and investors. And then we just built out Roddy AI over the last 2 years, and I put it on the market like last Octoberish, and fucking grand slam, dude. I
I'm
mean, that's
excited
the
about
one
this
that ties it
conversation.
all together.
I'm excited about this conversation for a few reasons. One, we met a while back. I think we went through one of your early boot camps, which were in person, right, in Chicago.
Yeah,
Two, I am that person that's hesitant to use AI. I just started using it, and it's kind of like the Paul Bunyan approach, which is wrong in business. So maybe we can dive a little bit into that, right?
sure, sure.
But first, let's do something a little off topic. We'll have a little fun. My background: I'm from New York City. You're from
Okay,
Chicago. The going
right,
argument is always the pizza, right?
100%.
Here's what I suggest: being to Chicago a couple times now. The first time we went to your boot camp was the first time I was in Chicago. Pizza's phenomenal, by
Okay.
the way. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. But where they compare the deep dish versus the thin crust, I don't even think that should be an argument. I think they're in their own categories. Like I love them. I love them both, and I don't think it should be a fight anymore.
I agree. I actually agree. But if you get some of the best like Lou Malnati's, Geno's, all that stuff that are known for their deep dish, they equally will make a pretty good thin crust.
I believe that. I mean, when we came out there, we had a
Same
gracious,
ingredients, different look thickness.
we had a mutual friend, Vicky. She took us out to lunch, and it was the first experience with it was what is it, Monaldo's, Louis? How do you pronounce
Oh,
it?
Lou Malnati's.
Yes, that was the first experience with it, and that was phenomenal.
That's a good one. It's a good first experience. Lou Malnati's never fails.
All right, so we agree to not disagree anymore on pizza. All right, so let's dive in. I want to know what was the drive to build something like Roddy AI, and how has that changed your business?
Well, I mean, it's a good question. You have to look at it from a true business owner mindset, true entrepreneurial mindset. It's the evolution. Like you got to evolve. You got to stay relevant. You've got to keep with current times. And there's trends out there that actually matter. Then there's a bunch of fucking trends that don't matter. And we've been in the game a long time, and we've evolved a lot. And I always talk about this business ecosystem that we created, which is like a hub and spoke model, right? Like the hub of a wheel, and then the spoke is a service package based on that skill set, which is your hub. For us, it's always been construction. We just started off in general contracting, but then we went off into management. Then we went off into education. Then we went off into running boot camps, and then we went off into building a SaaS platform, project management, and making an exit. So I know what exits are like. Um, all the while, never leaving construction, always in construction, always flipping houses. Doing different things within construction. Storage units, hotels, commercial, retail, all that different stuff, right? And then that led us to, when you have all that experience, then you go into consulting and you start working with other companies that are trying to achieve what you have or are trying to just get better at where they're currently sitting. And the thing about consulting is you don't really hire a consultant when you're in the red, you hire them when you're in the green. So you have them evaluate, or he or she evaluate where you're at, where you're going, and then he or she helps you identify holes that might not get you to your next goals. But if you call us when you're in the red, what are we gonna do? You already fucked up.
Yeah.
So we've always been that brutally honest on everything that we do, right? We're very raw, very transparent. We want to make sure that you know where we stand, like the line in the sand. And 98% of social media likes what we do, and then you have your 2% fucking idiots that talk shit and whisper to their other friends. It's business. But one thing that can't be denied is you must evolve, no matter how many years. Every market change, every season change, every presidential change, every economic change, every war threat changes business, and you have to understand that. So just following the patterns a few years ago, I knew AI was going to be more of a in your face type thing. I don't claim to be a tech guy, but it's just weird. Certain things make sense to me. It's just
Yeah.
I'm mechanically inclined. But also with that critical thinking, I could put things together that I otherwise would never have touched. And then I'll ask somebody who does that and be like, okay, am I on the right page? Am I thinking the right thing? So as a consultant, I hire consultants, right? You're a consultant's consultant, coach's coach, where it's like, let me ask you, let me run some ideas off you.
Sure.
This might be your space, not mine, but I'm entering it kind of thing, right? So I did that, and then I realized I could build an AI relatively quickly, and I did that 2 summers ago. And I was addicted because it's easy. It's not, if you would have asked Roddy or Ryan or whatever the fuck you want to call me, would you have gotten an AI? They're like, no, of course not. But when you are a seasoned veteran in the business, you learn like you've got to continue to evolve. And what I learned, like the first morning I started tinkering with it, is that it just hit me. I'm like, I could put every bit of education I've ever put out, every book I've ever written, every manual, every boot camp I've ever had, every picture, every image, every scope, every budget, anything, contracts, successes and failures, all that shit. I could put that in the AI, and not only can it be an educational tool, it could be your assistant. And then it hit me, I'm like, wait a minute, I can make this my construction assistant that also has education.
Yeah.
Then it hit me, I said, oh, wait a minute, I can build AI agents within it that could serve guys like Chris with what they do, all because of construction. And it just kept blowing up. And within our AI now, I mean, we have Roddy AI, which is the main hub, right? And then think of the umbrella, and then all the other little pieces, or the hub and spoke, right? Every spoke is another option within the AI. We've got 48 AI agent employees inside the AI that serves property management, project management, construction, title, lending, real estate agents themselves, disposition, acquisition, and it's all tied to construction, right? It's not independently. I mean, it can be independently,
Okay.
and we build it out further.
Sure.
And then we realized we can customize everything to a Chris, and we can customize it to a Mel. And it just kept going and snowballing until the point where I was confident enough to talk about it online, right? Because when you start talking about it, people are like, I want to see it. I want to know what it is.
Right.
And of course, that comes with it. But it's an ever evolving thing. But I've captured the entire business model of what rehabbing and house flipping is from A to Z in the AI. It will literally do everything you ask it to do in seconds. It'll teach you how to do your job in seconds. If you're confused or new to something, it'll teach you that in seconds. It'll show you too how to get it done. It'll time block you. It'll tell you what you should do at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 a.m. It'll teach you how to quality control, manage. It'll teach you how to do your operations. It'll teach you how to put together a team and train them. It'll teach you how to do your budgets and put it together. It's insane. And everybody calls and will say, hey, I have this need. Like my buddy Billy Alvaro, I know you know Billy. We're working with his company. Jeff Garner's working with property management companies. These aren't small people. These are big entities that do volume yearly. Like Jeff's got over 550 doors a year that they manage. They're all single family. And I'm like, that's how I started. Single families up my alley. I know exactly what those cookie cutter homes in the Midwest in St. Louis need, right? They're just like Chicago homes, just a different market. So you look at it that way and go, all right, I pretty much know what you need. Let's talk about your terms. Let's talk about your rent rolls. Let's talk about your maintenance fees. Let's talk about your turn levels. So then we just customize it for them. And then we give them an AI agent to help them. And it assists their director of construction and their senior project manager. Same thing with Billy. We help them on the real estate side. We help them on the acquisition side. Then we help the property management side. Then we help the project manager side. And then we tell them how to close it all out. So it's tailored almost like a white label to everybody who uses it. All of our students in our GO program use it. They get it for free as part of their membership, and there's not. It's the most interesting thing because I've been coaching for so long, and we used to call it the Roddy Rehab Academy, and that was it was archaic. It was coursework. It was online stuff. It was It was with the current times, but current times evolved.
Right.
And I realized again, I could push everything into AI, and now all my students have the AI. I literally tell them what to do. I'm like, listen, I need you to prompt it this way because we're going to put together a fake package, right? Tell it, hey, Roddy, I need blank, right? I need a scope of work and a detailed budget breakdown for a level 2 rehab in zip code 60061. It's a 3-bed, 2-bed bathroom ranch. I need a full scope breakdown. I need a complete marginal breakdown with 8% PM fee, 10% contingency, 10% GC fee, no margin. Break it down by line item, complete with a breakdown of difference between the materials and the labor costs and the fees associated separately. I want to see that visually. Then I want that broken down into a Gantt chart, color coded. Then I want a listed Gantt chart for the agreement. Then I want that broken down by draw milestone. I want it started with permitting time periods, inspection time periods, all inclusive starting around March 1st. Break it down by day, by task, by phase of construction, and put that into an Excel spreadsheet and a downloadable document. You give them one little questionable narrative, and in 5 seconds, I've just saved you 5 days because every rehabber needs that shit.
Yeah.
And that's the success. And that's what triggered everything. I'm like, dude, it's endless what we can do with it. Right.
It's
And
fascinating.
being
Let
as
me cut you off
experienced
for
as
a
we
second.
are,
I'll cut you off for 1 second
yeah,
because so I think you answered one of my questions I didn't even ask yet. Because when I was coming into this, I'm thinking, I know the fear of a lot of people, and it was mine in the beginning before I started using any kind of AI, even just the ChatGPT stuff, is that it's going to replace, right? But it doesn't sound like we're replacing. It sounds like we're still educating, we're still learning, but now we're customizing it to what we already know. We're putting it in our system to make life easier. So we're not replacing anything,
yep.
right? Okay.
It's basically all of our companies in one. That's what I've created for us. And when I realized I was able to actually streamline everything, you know how super lean the fucking company is now? It's all
I
in the
bet.
fucking AI.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait a minute, if this is working for us, it can work for anybody that's in our space, right? And the truth is, our AI doesn't scrub Reddit or Google. That's not rehab shit, right? Our numbers, we put in, I specifically physically spent all morning, one morning about a year ago, putting in over 300 zip codes. And I had high, low, and medium rehab levels based on square footage, cost per square footage. So what we learned over the years is as a rehabber in construction, that your rehab cost can never be retail. So you're never going to hire the A. We already know that stuff. So if it costs on retail to build something hypothetically for $100 square foot, you can only afford 50, right? So an A-level contractor is not going to cut his margin by 50% to do your fucking your project. Of course not. So we put those margins in there already based on over 300 zip codes. Anybody else who's new and uses it adds to the database, right? So we made it so robust that we were able to pull and extract numbers in seconds because I took the time to break down the metrics, but we had to know the metrics. Most people don't know the metrics.
Right.
So that's why it's so useful. Then what I do is go, okay, Chris, where are you buying and flipping? Oh, Pennsylvania. Cool. All right. What city? Boom. What top 3 zip codes? Boom, boom, boom. Done. All right, man. Send it over to me. Send me like the most recent 3 scopes you've done, the most recent 3 budgets you've done, and the 3 contract packages. Send that to me. I'm putting that in your AI. And now anytime you ask it for those items, it's customized to your region. So your numbers get more and more and more accurate because the AI will learn you. I taught the AI to think like Elon Musk in the sense of cognitive and critical thinking. I
Yeah.
taught it to think like a NASA level psychotherapist that can read key words. So if you said, this is my first time as a project manager, what should I do on Monday on this specific project? It's going to read that, and it's going to say, Roddy says, calm down. Everything's going to be just fine. Don't get so nervous. I got you. Brrr, right? So it's really like talking to me. It's funny. It learned my language, how I speak, and in the words I use, even the beautiful words that I use. And then, literally, the eloquent bullshit that comes out of my mouth, right? It's cool, right? But it's giving you legitimate, ready to use data that moment. So it changes people's businesses overnight. It changes the amount of physical people you need overnight, but it also complements the people you have to help you repurpose them,
Yeah.
right? It really does. It doesn't mean to fire people, repurpose them, grow your business, because the AI can be an assistant to any employee you have, or any VA, or any extension you have, because that's what it is. The AI is a tremendous value add. What the Rehab Depot has always been is a value add. We compete with no one. We value everyone, and that's the idea behind the AI. Is instead of me doing 90 things a day, I do like 9.
Well, think about this. Up until something like this, I mean, we all love our Excel spreadsheets, and that's what we use for most of our analyzation, even in the beginning of a project, right? We build a spreadsheet and we say, what do I think my construction cost is going to be this much per square foot, this much per square foot, and then my buy price has to be this, and my ARV is this. We build these calculations in, and then a couple of years goes by and it works great. Then there's a pivot in the market, and then you're fucked. You can't use your sheet anymore. You have to rework it. So if you have something that's constantly learning
Right.
and based on zip codes,
Right.
and you can go in and say, "Hey, listen, is there any updates?" And this is doing it for you. Like you just saved yourself all that time of having to rebuild that model every single time.
Dude, all the time. And it really is. It's like the ultimate rabbit hole, because if this is what you do for a living, it's never ending. You could ask it anything, and it's going to give it to you or show you how to do it, and it's going to explain it to you. And then we programmed it so that you ask it for something, like all that shit I just said like 5 minutes ago. And then at the end, it'll ask you, well, now that I've given you all this amazing data, what do you want me to do with it? You want me to put it into an Excel spreadsheet? You want it down for a PDF ready to print? Do I want
Yeah.
to make it a fillable template? Do you want me to send this off, make it underwritable ready for the lender? Because we taught all the aspects of the transaction. So we could take a budget and it'll ask you, where do you want me to send the budget? Who is it going to? Who is it for? So I can reformat it for that purpose. I mean, it does all the work for you and it saves you days and weeks, if not months of work, where you're saving money because you're saving time, and time is money.
Right. How do you feel like this has helped your education business? Obviously it's taken some time off of having like
Made my life
dive
easy,
deep into
man.
some stuff, right?
Made my life easy. Allows me just to do this. I log in, right? I always have my windows open of what I'm going to be needing, of course, and I just log in every single call, and we have a curriculum that my AI spit out for them. And I'm like, we're going to put together a 30-day Go program on teaching people how to run a construction company. Boom. AI gave it to you based on all of the data I've ever put into it, based on how we run our business. So it was like a no-brainer. Um, and the AI not only changed my business, it's changing all their businesses because you got to think how hard it is. You're a coach. How hard is it to untrain the mind from something people have done for a long time? That's hard to do for anybody in any, it could be sports, it could be business, it could be family, it could be lifestyle. It's hard to
Yeah.
change people, especially when you hit a certain age. It's better to capture people earlier in their career by giving them the AI saying, just start with this,
Yep.
right?
Agreed.
I don't have to correct that much. Just start with this, and we're going to extract it. So when I say, hey, we're going to talk about scopes of work today, we're going to go in the AI and talk about scopes of work today. So I'm indirectly teaching them how to use their own AI. We're also using their own AI to extract the data for their projects. And then we tell them save that shit. We don't have to rewrite it anymore. And the idea of being at a property and having the AI on your phone and you just kind of like, all right, I need a level 2 rehab. The only thing we're going to change from our typical level 2s is we're going to refinish the hardwoods. We're not going to go with MVT. Calculate that detailed scope of work, break it down by construction phase. I need a construction budget that's detailed as well, that matches each line item. Put that into a Gantt chart the way I like it. The way I like it means they know it.
Yeah.
And then you look at it, you spend your time kind of looking at it and going, okay, we could change a couple things, right? Maybe on this project, I don't need to worry about the chimney because there is no chimney, right? It's using your usual typical level 2s. So you just go in there and say, level 2, no, I don't need that, don't need that. Okay, do me a favor, remove chimney, remove back porch, remove exterior lights. Maybe those are already done, and recalculate. Done. Now it's updated, ready to go. Now put this into a contractor agreement, Roddy style, have it ready for signature so I can send off via DocuSign. Done. You did that at the property, you haven't even left yet.
Yeah.
So everything changes how efficient you can be. And as we sit here, dude, I never thought in a million years I'd be sitting here talking to people about fucking AI. That's why.
No, I get
That's
it.
why it's funny because I literally just took my business, put it in the AI, and keep making it more. I just keep inputting more data on a daily basis and making it more robust. That's all it is.
Well, here's the thing that I can see from the outside looking in is on the coaching side, when you have something like that, let's say you have 30 students, right? A portion of them are going to get it from day one. So, and they're going to get some of that stuff, some of the material that you give them, some of the material that's built into the AI and run with it.
Right.
The ones that aren't, now you're able to spend more time focusing on the people that are having maybe a little more trouble than others and not having to recreate every single time you have a new student. So I love that. And I used it just recently to build out a lot of my documents in my Google Drive for my coaching business. So I'm getting used to it. And like I said, I was hesitant, but I'm on board now. I mean, it just takes so much time away from a lot of the crap you have to do on a daily basis.
I believe it, dude. You ain't got to tell me twice. I mean, the AI would make Mel's life a hell of a lot fucking easier if she's doing all your construction now. Like, she'd probably be sitting having like breakfast with you, saying everything's scoped and ready to go.
See, and she does it either way, right? And we talked about this off camera too. If it wasn't for Mel, you would be my project manager because I'm not doing it.
I'd be like, I don't have to do that anymore. That's the beauty.
Yeah.
When we created the virtual project manager business 2 years ago, it scaled so fast it was uncontrollable. We were making mistakes left and right because there was no infrastructure for it. I knew it was needed from just raw experience. I knew everybody in the game needed it, and they did. And it just got too big too fast where I had to pump the fucking brakes because we were running into like legal issues with different states. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh fuck, I wasn't ready for that stuff. And then I was like, you know what? that was more stressful to try to maintain that. And that's kind of when I started thinking AI. Let me just see what it is. And that's when I realized I don't need to do any of that shit. These people can basically virtually manage their own shit with the AI. I'm out.
Hmm.
And I'm telling you, it's just timing. But I'm grateful I went through the experiment of trying to start a new service within the same business because it failed. It didn't work. And
Yeah.
that's okay, right? People wanted to talk shit like, oh, he ain't the best, he ain't the GOAT. Like, I heard it all. And I'm laughing, going, I'm not going to respond. There's no need for a response. But the idea of being an entrepreneur is you take risks and you try to get better and improve, right? And all we were trying to do is get better and improve something that would be a benefit, which proved to be a benefit, but proved that it's too big to go that fast. And I pulled back, no problem. So for those that it didn't work for, fuck cares. Life happens.
Yeah. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be available. Here's the thing about, especially this industry that we're in. Real estate investing loves to market. We're great marketers. So when it comes to getting into the business, day one, I remember this was 11 years ago. We were interested in it. You get to learn,
Sure.
you get to watch videos on YouTube on people talking to sellers because that's sexy, the sales side. Um, Cold calling was a shiny object too. You get to anywhere, lead management and sales ends up being the two sexy subjects. The problem I always saw from the beginning, which is how we tracked you down in the first place, is you get to go through all that sexy stuff and sign a contract and then say, well, what do I do now? Like nobody was out there preaching, what do you do now? So we kind of had to figure it out on our own. Uh,
Yeah.
our first flip, which didn't even, the intention of it wasn't being a flip, but our first flip took somewhere around 9 months or so. And it was not, I think we did a kitchen and a bathroom and some paint. I mean, we got screwed by a couple of contractors and it was a mess. But because we learned everything up to the point of closing, after we were closing, we're like, well, what do we do now? Because there wasn't anything out there that we could find that teaches that. I don't know what that looks like now, but I still feel like your niche is so unique still in the business.
It is. I mean, you have guys out there that coach it. There's no doubt. I know who they are. But they're like trying to make it exclusive, where they only teach it to like a distinct mastermind group, right? Um, I don't identify with any mastermind. I don't identify with any specific group because we knew early on we were doing this before those fucking things existed. So, it was a different mindset for me. I was in my 20s. In my 20s, I was a savage, dude. I was a whole different mindset. I wanted to take on the biggest, baddest company in the game. I wanted to. I also didn't care. I wanted to have fun, and I was taking probably 10,000 more risks then than I even realized, because you're young and you're inexperienced youth mindset. You don't know what's coming. All these years later, now I'm 44 years old. I see everything fucking coming, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if it's gonna come, it's gonna come. So it's no different than project managing a construction flip, right? I mean, you have to see the challenges in advance so you know how to adapt, maneuver. Some things you just can't avoid. You just have to plan how to deal with them. How you gonna minimize the punches? That's
Yep.
all. Couple blocks here, you got to take a hit there. Couple blocks, take a hit. But there's people who just get knocked the fuck out because they didn't know what to do. And that's what we eliminated early on, was we're going to give you a plan. You still got to execute the plan.
Sure.
Plan's still not easy. It's
That's
not a
like with
one-off
anything.
fix all. Yeah, I mean, this is a rough business. And so when I see, rough business, this is an insanely fucked up business, because you have players that don't want to play. You have players that think they know everything. You have players who think they're players. You have people who literally pat each other on the back and call each other brother and shit. And I'm like, you're not my fucking brother. I don't have a brother. And then you sit there and it's a game, right? And that's kind of what the society has become, because on social media, everybody's got to be cool to everybody. No, man, I'm cool with
Yep.
the right people, and I'm not cool with the not right people. It's very simple. I stick to my principles. We actually put that in the AI, right? How to deal with these situations, how to terminate contractors, how to deal with fights and arguments and disagreements with lenders, with private investors, with all the shit. Because you have to understand that this is one of the roughest business you could ever choose to take on. That's what people won't tell you.
100% of that. You're going to run into
Not the
100% of those
easiest business in the
situations.
world by any stretch.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it didn't take us long to, we're the kind of, well, I say we, I rope Mel into that. She is a little more cautious than I am. I mean, my background's in the firehouse. Like, for a living, I just did crap and worried about the consequences later. So I carried that right into real estate. So it wasn't until we got smacked in the ass with a $40,000 bill at the table on the closing, the resale closing of the property, because we did not scope it right. We did not foresee some of the issues that were going to come down the road. And it wasn't until that when we said, you know what, we got to slow down and reach out for some help and like put some structure to this, because it's such an important part. Like everything I talked about before with the sales and the lead management is a great way to secure a possible profit, but there's nothing like keeping the profit like your project management and budgeting. I mean, you can secure $100,000 profit on paper and lose it tomorrow.
100%, man. 100%. I mean, the analogy is simple. I mean, construction is simple. We teach it like a gym coach would give you a workout plan, but you're the one that's got to go work out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we'll give you the entire framework and structure and how to build it and run it, and manage it and plan for it and blah, blah, blah. You still got to go do it and execute. And part of the execution is accepting failure. You have to be able to say, I know I'm going to fuck some things up, but that's the only way to learn in this business, unfortunately. And fuck ups cost money. The risk is no greater than anything else. I mean, the risk is on buying the asset, then the risk is on construction, and then the risk is on management, then the risk is on closing it, then the risk is on selling, right? Or even renting. I mean, it's just another phase of risk. There could be 17 different risks within your project from start to finish. And even after it's finished, what happens if you didn't do something right and the next family that bought it starts slamming you saying this is a piece of shit fucking house in the media? And I mean, it's endless, really. I mean, at the end of the day, it can go as far as until it stops, just for you to do it again.
Yeah.
But imagine the guys that are doing multiple at once consistently, and there are easily, I would say, there's 1,000 guys out there I know right now that do multiple at once, no problem. But they also know I can't do 100 a year, but I could do 10, I could do 15, maybe I could do 30, and they're good there. And that's the idea of flipping. And I was saying this to a student this morning. I'm like, your return's your return. What you want to put in for a GC fee or a project management fee to pay yourself, because I always teach people to cash flow construction. If you're an investor GC, why aren't you paying yourself as a GC? People don't do that. They put all their eggs saying, I'm gonna rip this 45K when we sell it. No, you're not. You're probably lucky to get 31,000 when it's all said and done, but you could have made up that difference if you paid yourself in construction. That's guaranteed. You've already got the loan approved and you're paying the interest on it. Pay yourself. But you don't know how to run a budget. You don't know where to put your role. We teach you that, you still don't do it. So it's like, you have to be, as coaches and consultants, you have to understand that not everybody's going to receive the motivation. And I do feel like I do motivate and inspire a lot, and I enjoy that. But you still have to be the one. Chris is still got to be the one to get up and go execute.
I've heard a couple different versions of paying yourself throughout a project. There's obviously a wrong way to do it as well, which I've heard a couple of versions of that. How would you suggest somebody builds that? Because that has to be built in the beginning of your project, right? When you're scoping everything.
Well, it's funny you ask that, because right now, most of our students who started in January are now around that phase of we need to understand how to figure out the budget by understanding what we need in the budget. And then we need to understand how we have fees, because our program teaches investors how to basically be GCs, not because they want to be, but if you want to be a paper GC and you're still going to have your valid supervision in it, why aren't you paying yourself as a project manager? So we're literally teaching people, and they're having those aha moments that I fucking love. And they're finally connecting dots. And we had a girl named Jenny. She's awesome. She actually was like, with her husband, we're on a camera. Was it yesterday? It might have been yesterday, actually. She was like quiet, and she's looking at me in the screen, and I'm like, what? And she's like, wait a minute. And then I go, what? And then she goes, and she sat back. She goes, I got it. And I said, explain it to me then. And she did. And what I basically said is there's 4 ways, if you're an owner, operator, GC, right? You own property and you're going to run it yourself. Then there's 4 ways for you to make money on this, right? Now, one is you have a design fee. If you did your design board and you put together your colors and your flooring, are you not a designer of the property? Technically you are. Design fees are common in construction. Give yourself a little leg. Then you have your PM fee. Any range between 8% and 12% is pretty standard, right? You can fluctuate based on the deal to make the deal work. GC fee could be 10% to 30%. Just depends on how you want to make it work. Gives you a range to play with, right? Then you have your markup, which is your fourth way to make money, which is not the same, a margin, I mean, which is not the same as a markup, right? Markup is your percentages like a GC fee or a PM fee, extra
Yeah.
percentages for the oversight. But the markup is true profitability and overhead. Whereas you take the 8% for a PM fee and you're going to give yourself a 10% GC fee, you're multiplying by that percentage. So you're actually taking a $25,000 budget and multiplying that by 8%. If you want a 20% margin, you would take 25,000 and divide that by 0.80. Different story. And you're going to see a significant difference in profitability. But once you learn the 4 ways to play it, then you can take any property you want, especially if you're the one that's going to buy the property, own the property, and rehab the property. And you can figure out, you know what, I don't need to be greedy. I can actually make this deal work if I give a little bit up front, meaning the seller doesn't want to do something. So I'm going to be a little more lenient because I'm going to run it. I know I'm going to make money in construction. So I have a little bit of leniency to go maybe a little higher on my offer than I would like to. But I know I'm going to make it back in construction guaranteed. Right? That's where you have the ability to say, maybe I'll go 8%. Let's see what that looks like. Nah, that's too low. Maybe I'll go 10% and see what that looks like. That might work, but I might have to bring my GC fee down to 8% then. It doesn't matter how you do it.
Yeah.
But you're giving yourself 3 ways to pay yourself. 1 to 2% for design, 8% for PM, 10% for GC. On a $100,000 job, that could be 20 grand.
Sure. So
right? I'll say you do that.
Yeah.
Well, let's say you do that. Let's take 20 grand right off the top. We have an $80,000 budget. The logic then is you use the AI, because all I just said, the AI is going to tell you to do it. Then you take the AI and say, okay, take the $80,000 and break that down by labor and materials for this scope of work and budget. Because I need to see if I can make it work. Right? So it helps you on the front end on the acquisition, determine if I can put it under contract to make money.
Right.
In and after. But then you have it under contract and you're planning for construction. Then you're looking at it going, okay, I got a $100,000 max budget to make the profit that I want to make after, my ARV type profit, right? And you go, if I take 20% of 100,000, that's basically 20% of the budget, right? That leaves me with 80,000 to do the project. Well, 40% might be labor, the difference might be materials. Can I actually get it done? In the AI, you ask the AI that. The AI will break it down for you and say, your all-in hard costs are $78,500. 40% of that, which would be, I don't know, $30 or 30,000, something like that would be, or 40,000, whatever. 20, actually, it's in the 20s. But you take that number and go, can I actually get it done? Because then you have to determine all the risk involved with this type of rehab. There's 12 of them. Then you have to look at your KPIs that are part of your risks. And then you have to sit there and understand how long is this project going to take? Because if I've only got like $40,000 in labor to play with, is it enough to get that done if I have a 6-week project, if I have an 8-week project, right? So there's a magnificent way for investors to cash flow rehabs, but you do have to know a thing or two about the construction process to be able to even use AI to teach you that. So that's actually a big thing that we're teaching right now for the past week. All the students have headaches, all the students have homework, but they're getting it. Because I'm giving them 5 different budgets, max allowable budgets. I'm saying I want you to create 3 different ways to make that budget work and tell me why. I don't care, but you might be satisfied with 8%. I might be satisfied with 12%. Our lifestyles might be different. Our bills might be different. Our family might be different. Our overhead, you know what I mean? There's no right or wrong around what somebody wants to accept as a profit. It's how you profit. But if you learn how to cash flow it during the rehab, and the AI will show you the whole fucking roadmap, you're always considering like, interesting. It changes your whole perspective on acquisitions. It changes your whole perspective on management.
It does.
Because you have taken the time to figure out where you want to be in the budget and where you want to be on the outside. Let's say you were trying to rip 40K on the ARV, right? But you're going to guarantee you're going to make at least 16,000 during rehab. Let's say you still make that 16,000, of course, but you only made 34,000. You actually made more money on the sale because you guaranteed that other money in the profit. So you still made more than you thought you were going to make if you understood how to pay yourself. And it's completely okay. If you're going to be the one managing the subs, you're going to be the one buying the materials, because that's the model we teach. You're going to be the one that just awards the labor. That's why it's important to figure out, does that 40,000 work, right? Because you're trying to run your numbers like, 40,000, he's probably going to need more like 48,000. That means I got to go change my fees. Okay, let's make this work. You're under control the whole fucking time. Lender doesn't give a shit. Lender doesn't give a shit because they're still going to loan the money to you on the same interest you're going to pay.
There's 2 things this makes me think of as you're saying that. because I know people analyze differently, right? Some analyze for flat profit, some analyze based on percentages. So
Mhm.
one, excuse me one second.
Good, dude.
That'll get it edited out. I got a new phone yesterday. My old one, the alarms are still going off.
No worries, dude.
Um, so back to what I was saying, people analyze differently on the purchase side of things as they're analyzing for budgets or profits, I should say. Uh, Percentages, flat fees. Like I know for a while in the beginning, we were analyzing everything as if we were going to make 30,000 on a flip, right? So that one, does that change the way you think about the profit side of things? Is it more built into like a percentage? And as far as budgets are concerned, are you pro or against building in your interest if you're borrowing money from a private lender, let's say, into your rehab budget, or is that separate?
I'm not pro or against any of it because it's all what makes sense to you. As long as you know how to play with your numbers, and I'm not even talking about hard costs. I'm really just talking about the fees and how you can make your money if you're going to be
Yeah.
involved with every investor's involved. You're making site visits, travel. You're on site supervising, complaining, bitching, whining, trying to correct supervision, and then you're trying to direct things, saying I need this done, and I gotta change the flooring, blah blah. Okay, you're managing. That's all that matters is how are you going to pay yourself. Within that, you can decide do you want to put your interest in there or not in there. That's up to you. But once you get better at managing how you're going to run the budget, it changes your whole perspective on how you flip houses. If you're the owner, investor, GC. But again, even if you're not a licensed GC and you're still going to be the project manager, you should still at least pay yourself as a project manager.
Yeah.
You know you're still going to be babysitting.
It
You're
makes
still going
sense.
to be
You're not getting
babysitting.
paid for 5 to 6 months on a project, right? If you
That's what
wait
I'm
till the end.
saying. And I, I think now, like nationally, like on social, I think that's starting to really take off where people are starting to see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I'm sharing it more and more. And, we have a virtual boot camp that we're going to do in March, all on project management. And that's going to be a big chunk of it is the numbers. We're going to practice those numbers, do exercise, like really understanding, do you control this thing from day one, man? So you better be paying yourself. And then we show
Yeah.
you all the different examples of how you can do it. And then we have some students that actually are getting licenses in their cities and states um, for all kinds of different reasons, right? And we're teaching them how to run that aspect of it. I'm like, well, if you're going to be the actual GC running the permits, right? That's another fee you could charge for yourself. Clearly, make your construction company separate. At that level, I tell them go open up a separate LLC, right? Have your LLC for real estate, have your LLC for construction, and this way, your businesses are making money,
Yeah.
right? You're gonna get the license, open up an LLC, and run it like a real business. Then, whether you like it or not, you're gonna like when you're paying yourself. When I collect a draw and then I give you a draw and I take a draw, everybody likes that.
Well, here's what I like about the way you've taught since day one and why I resonate with it is because the way you're taught in the beginning, or even if you have to figure it out on your own, you might invite a couple contractors over to your job. I'm going to want to do this. I'm going to want to do this, want to do this. Let me know how much it's going to be. And then you use their input to build your budget. And that's how much you ask for. So there is no extra. You're paying them and that becomes your budget. That's how we learned. So I know when we first went through your boot camp, I know we talked about it in the beginning. What was that? 8 years ago? Was it maybe 8 or 9 years
Probably,
ago?
probably.
Uh, it kind of challenged the way we think about that. And it did put us back in control because now we came up with a budget and then we were reaching out to our contractors and saying, here's what we have to work with. We're willing to do this with you. Are you willing to do this? Yes or no? And then we just carried the conversation on from there instead of the other way
Right,
around. Then now
right.
we're treating it like a business and not as we were treating it as a customer. We were a customer of that contractor. Now you're a customer of my business and we're gonna pay you for it.
100%. Nothing changed from then, but adding the AI in it to do it for you.
Yeah.
Nothing really changed from then because now we're just really explaining more of the metrics and the numbers as to how to make that more clear, more motivating, and more attractable and attainable for you to learn it.
Yeah.
Because that's a piece people get hung up on is the math, and that's fine. Math's not for everybody. It wasn't for me, but I've been living math my whole adult life. So you get good at what you do consistently, right? Repetition creates that. And I owe it to the industry to share that. That's one of the things why I always say, like, you don't have to like me, dude. You don't have to like a fucking thing about me, and I'm fine with that. But you're gonna like the results that I could help you achieve, and that's the sale. That's the solution. Is wherever you struggle, I probably have a solution that could help you. That's on you though, right? And the truth is, I can only cap it so much. I can only handle so many people because I do it personally. I don't have
Yeah.
a team of coaches. I think that's stupid. I want my students to deal with me 100% because I know they're going to learn it the way I speak it because I have a passion behind it. The way I share information, I share it because I was once you sitting in the chair confused as fuck, going, dude, I wish there was a guy like Roddy. I wish there was a guy like me then when I came
Yeah.
up because there was nobody to teach this shit. We were the first to do it, right? And when you're the first to do anything,
Yeah.
you're the first to get shot down.
Damn right.
But that's
Maybe
the
this is
nature of
maybe this is the New Yorker me talking, but how do you create enemies? Like you're a likable guy. I think.
that's a really good. Listen, because the way I create enemies is people have this thing where they put you on a pedestal and they think that there's a certain element of perfection behind you. I've never said one fucking time I was perfect. But I do tell people we are the best, right? Nothing wrong with that. I believe in that. And I will believe in that. I believe in that today. I'll believe in it tomorrow. We are the best at what we do because this is all we do, right? I didn't dabble into wholesaling. Fuck all that nonsense, right? I'm not an advertiser. I advertise a brand, right? I go into marketing. I market the brand. I don't market houses, right? So I stay in my niche all damn day. This is all I do. So I look at it like I can help those that want to learn. And again, I'm comfortable in my skin where you don't have to like me because maybe I'm raw. Maybe I say things that you wouldn't say. Maybe I speak a certain way. Maybe I look a certain way. That's cool. But the reality is what comes out of my mouth comes from my brain and it comes from my heart, and you need that information. One way or another, you're going to come around and lose enough. And I get this call all the time. Oh, dude, I've been watching you for years. I've been waiting for this one project to work on with you. And I go, I don't know what that means, but thank you. I'm like, I'm not working on projects. I'm like, do you need education or do you want us to just take it over and flip it? What are you asking? They're like, I don't know what I need. And I go, exactly. And we always built that's why we had 3 separate companies because you're a sales guy. We knew that we wanted to make sure that we never lost the opportunity, you might call it a sale, the opportunity to work with somebody. We had to figure out where they're at that time of call, right? Are you a rookie? Do you need education? Are you a seasoned veteran? Do you need management and construction because you're just you like it? Or are you enterprising and you're like, I want to scale to another city. I just need to make sure that what I have now is duplicatable there for the consulting, right? That was why we always found success and we were able to work with some of the biggest companies in the game and some people you never heard of because we had levels of service that we could provide based on the same aspect of this is all we do. We rehab houses,
Yeah.
right? And as a sales guy, you got to love that, right? No sales guys would be like, that's not fucking genius. It is fucking genius because we don't want to lose a capture bin if we can help you. We just got to figure out what help do you need.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually the sale, it's not even a sale. People like call and say like, I need you. I don't know what I need. And I'm like, tell me what you're doing. What city are you in? What are we working on? And it's just a couple of questions that I ask. And then I'm like, all right, dude, cool. Here's the deal. Are you the kind that wants to sit down and learn, or do you want us to kind of co-pilot this with you?
Yeah.
Right now it's like, hey, listen, we've got a GO program for 30 days and you get the AI. I'm basically going to teach you how to use the AI to do everything I would do for you anyway. That's it. So it's an incredible evolution. It's an incredible business. It's the hardest business in the world. I sometimes I sit in this office and go, what the fuck were you thinking in your 20s, bro? What possessed me to do this shit? But I'll tell you this much, going back to the idea is like, who would hate you? Plenty. Because envy creates that. Jealousy creates that.
Well, I think confidence is intimidating to some people. And that's what
I think it's a whole package. I think it's a whole package, right? I believe that when we created the Roddy brand, right? It's a brand. It's a persona. I'm Ryan. Like when you hire Roddy or the Rehab Depot, you really get Ryan. Ryan's the guy talking to you now, like the relatable dude. You're like, dude, this guy's cool. Like, I know I'm cool. Unless you're not cool, I don't want to be cool with you, right? Like 50 Cent problems. He said, I don't want problems, but if you want problems, I'll give you a problem. It's what it is. So it's kind of like, I think people look at that and I think they judge you from a certain way that you market your brand. We're a raw brand. We're a sexual brand, right? You don't see me walking around a Carhartt. You see me driving a Range Rover, and I'm always fashionably dressed. I like clothes. I like jewelry. So what? Doesn't mean I don't know anything.
Yeah.
But people judge you for that. They have you like in this box, and when you don't have a box, that's when people are like, not for me. But then they meet me, they're like, totally had it wrong about you, dude. I'm like, I know. Welcome.
Right. Yeah. Because you met the person and not the brand.
Yeah, dude.
All right, cool. Well, I've taken enough of your time, but I do want you to let the audience know what is, if they're interested in this, they want to work with you, they want to learn more about this AI stuff. What is the best and quickest way for them to get to you?
Easy. www.rati-ai.com. Rati-ai.com. It has all of our boot camps. It has all of our AI agents. It even our site educates you, teaches you right off the bat the cash flow matrix. Like, it's educational, lots of videos, lots of good stuff, and it breaks down how the AI can work for you, which AI is best for you. Talks about our YouTube channel. Like, we used our AI to build a whole new page in a day.
Yeah, I use it for my website. It's really good for that.
I'm telling you, man, it's just unbelievable. I used the AI to ask it earlier, like, how do I find a lost passport? Like, it just tells me everything I need, and then it says Roddy says, and I'm like, Roddy don't know. He's asking.
Yeah, right.
I said, Roddy. That's like Roddy says my ass. He doesn't know. Roddy's asking. I use it all the time, but it's good stuff, dude. But I appreciate you having me on. I'm here to help anybody that wants to help, and I wish you the best on your podcast, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'll put that in the show notes as well.